All right. Hi, Internet.
Hey,
Hi. So, introduce yourself to anyone who's watching.
hi. My name is Chris Cardi, but I prefer to go by BuB, and I am a music photographer. This just kind of happened all of a sudden recently, and just kind of picked up steam and haven't looked back. It's been great.
So, how'd you start doing it?
So that's a little bit of a long story. There are like several levels of it, right? So, without like, yeah, I could get a bit wordy. So, like, I could probably get wordy, but um, in any case, how did I get started? Well, I, I've always been told that I have an eye for photography.
Hmm.
Um, my mom had always just kind of like pushed me throughout my life, and she said, you have the eye, right?" And I just kind of was like, whatever, you know. So I would take lots of, photos at shows like everybody else would do on their cell phones.
Right.
Um, and I started to take more photos like as I was like getting up close during the shows. Um, my first time seeing The Cure was in November of 2022, and I had actually done a deep dive of The Cure during COVID. So like that was like
Hmm.
my first big show of theirs, and like that meant a lot to me. I was like all the way in the back, but I had also plans to go to England to catch a handful of shows there. And while I was in England, I managed to get up in the front, that I was like taking, these photos, and I'm like going through them, and I'm like, wow, this is good. Wow, that's good. Like, oh, like,
Hmm.
this is good. Um, and for the longest time, like, and also vision video, this kind of ties together, right? So,
Okay.
vision video, I had also done, found during COVID. So it was like,
Hmm.
these were like my two bands that helped me through lockdown and quarantine and stuff. So before even The Cure, I was going to vision video shows, and I was taking photographs of them, because like in the beginning they were small, and there'd be like 30, 40 heads at the
Right.
show. Yeah, and I could take photos and be pretty free to do so. And for a long time they were just like posted to my private Facebook page. And So what really kind of kickstarted things was this past last year in May. Actually,
Hmm.
we're coming up to the 1 year anniversary. The Cure went on tour, and they I started going around with them, and I had lots of front row seats, was taking pictures, and I was in a very, select group chat, of like about
Hmm.
a dozen of us. And I'd be up in the front, and I'd just be sending pictures to this tiny group chat. And they're like, "Bub, like, what do you like, you gotta like put these out there. Like, these are gorgeous.
Hmm.
And then in the middle of Cure Tour, at the end of May, beginning of June, I flew out to England because I had previous plans to fly out there to go see Vision Video in their first overseas tour.
Okay,
Uh,
that's epic that you're able to do that.
Listen, that's a crazy story in and of itself, because I had no plans to be out on the West Coast. So I'm on the West Coast for all the California shows. And, so I started in San Diego, went all the way up to San Francisco. Friend of mine convinced me to be in San Francisco. I said, "Man, I got to catch a flight in New York on the 31st to go to England." The
Hmm.
show in San Francisco was on the 29th.
Oh my god.
So, like, she twisted my arm, my friend Leni, she twisted my arm just a tiny bit. And I went to the show on the 29th. I took a flight on the 30th to New York. I
Hmm.
was in my bed for that night only. And then first thing in the morning, I jumped on a plane and went, back to and went to England.
Oh my
So
god.
I was like crossing like, all these like different time zones. And at one point I'm like, I don't know what day it is, what time it is, what time zone. Like, it was just so crazy. But I went over to, okay, so like I said, I could be really wordy. So
That's
so,
okay.
so I'll try. I'll try to bring it in for the landing. Okay, we'll like pack.
Okay.
While I was in England, Dusty's girlfriend Scarlett, she also is a photographer.
Right.
She's very good at it, and she does like a bunch of landscaping and animals and stuff. So she's really good. And she had her camera because she was traveling around with them, to take pictures. And so we got to talking, and she was like, well, here. And she like handed me her camera. And I was like, I've never
Oh
touched
my
this
God.
before. She said, yeah, while you're here, which was like 5 shows, it was about a week. She said, while you're here, just take pictures, get practice in. And so like that night I was up in the front. Again, there's, not too many people there, in these small clubs in England. And, and I was up in the front and I was just taking pictures, and like, and that week I just remember was like a whirlwind. Like night after night I was taking all these shots, and they were all magnificent. They were all like a lot of them were just absolutely gorgeous shots. And I remember like the final night that I was there, I had to give the camera back.
Right.
And Scarlett was like, I'll give you your photos later, and I was like, fine. And I went back to my room and I just kind of like cried, because like I could see that there was like, and I'm trying to be as like modest and as
Right.
as possible. Like I could see that there was a lot of talent here that I didn't even know I had. Like I was just, I mean, maybe I did, but I was in denial. But I just kind of was like, no, it's not for me. And I just cried because A, I was so happy, and B, I was like, this is what I really wanted to do. And I was like, see, I'm like, oh my God, do I have to quit my job now? Like, but after a little bit of thinking about it, I was like, no, I could make this work while having a full-time job. In the meantime, yeah, I'm not a shy person, and I do, I do like to talk, and I just nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So I decided to reach out to I'm just gonna say somebody that is close within the Cure,
Okay.
the Cure group, right? The circle.
Right.
And I said, hey, I've been taking these pictures. Is there like, any chance that maybe I could get like a photography pass? Like, like, and so the long story short is that I never got one. However, I was told your stuff is amazing. Keep doing it. Put up put up a website, get yourself, set up with an Instagram, etc., social media. And then let's see what happens in the future, right? So, in the meantime, after that, I have had opportunities to photograph Reeves Gabrels and his improv band. They're called Doom Dogs.
Okay.
So like that was really like the first opportunity to like kind of work on a higher scale, because up until that point I was just doing vision video stuff, and I was just taking pictures and I was just posting them on my Facebook, and that was that. Now that I have the page, like I have this huge enormous backlog that I'm like, while I'm still going to new shows, I'm still trying to go back and still try to post the pictures that I had, but like I was tremendously thankful because Reeves has been sharing my things on social media. Roger O'Donnell of The Cure has shared my photos a couple of times. I've been getting like some really great recognition from some like really, top tier, top shelf names in the music industry, or at least in this niche, right? So it's just like, and like I started on on my late husband's birthday, which was November 14th. November has always kind of been like a bad time for me because he was born on the 14th and then he died on the 17th. And it's just a nasty month for me. So
Right.
this was my way to incorporate something that was really great. And it was 5 years, and I finally said to myself, you know what, I'm taking back this month of November. I'm tired of being so shitty. And so on November 14th, I said, today's the day. I made a post on my Facebook. I said, I am officially a music photographer. And away I went. And since November, like, this has just been an absolute amazing, like, whirlwind. I've been working with so many different bands, and when I say working with, I just want to say, no money has been exchanged, like I reach out, because like this legitimately makes me so happy to do. And it really tickles my, my like art bones, the artsy part of me. It really makes me happy. So like I reach out, and a lot of these bands have performed with Vision Video before, so they are well aware of me. They know who I am. And if they don't know who I am, I say, hey, I'm BuB. I'm friends with Vision Video. And like ask about me. People know me, So so that is kind of like where we're at, on this like almost 1 year anniversary since everything kind of started with the Cure tour and just kind of kicked off from there. And I know like that was a really long answer, but that's how I got
That's
into
okay. I love it. Sometimes I'll have the same amount of questions and I'd be done with an interview already because they don't want to talk. And I'm like,
oh my God. No, this is I have the gift of gab. Like I can just talk and talk and talk. So, I mean, we'll be here probably until 8 o'clock, but I'll try not to. I'll try not to though,
Yeah. So how many shows like roughly do you go to like in a year?
I don't keep track.
That's
because there are way too many. So last year, I can tell you definitively, last year I went to 19 Cure shows.
Okay.
And that just kind of happened. I had plans to go from Boston all the way down to Miami. So I was going to do like the East Coast leg of the Cure tour and like finish it out with them. Unexpectedly, I had people calling me up all over the place, writing me letters saying like, hey, I have an extra ticket. You want to come? And like they would be like amazing seats and I couldn't pass it up. And I'd be like, okay, I'm going, so that's how I ended up at 19 shows. So I was at 19 Cure shows, at least 5 Vision Video shows. I do like to go to big acts, like my favorite ones are, Iron Maiden. I'm a huge Weird Al Yankovic fan. I will go every time he's in town. But I mean, it's probably not like as many as you would think though at the same time, because like tickets are like super expensive.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I was able to do 19 shows was because Robert Smith, did that whole thing with Ticketmaster to make the tickets affordable.
Right.
And so it was just kind of like, since COVID, I was like saving like everything. And I was like, I know they're going to go on tour eventually. I'm going to be ready, so there are a lot of shows. But Vision Video, I will try to do at least 5, a handful of them every time they come around. So, and I was like training with them, like, so, doing the whole tour thing. So by the time the Cure came around and I was like, car camping and going all around America, like I was already like a seasoned pro. I was like, all right, I got this, like, and my catchphrase, like during tour, I'm like, I'm surviving on iced coffee and the power of friendship. Like that was like my diet, And to the point where like I had like my friends going, dude, like you really need to like go eat something. Like you didn't eat today. Like you know, and I'd just be like, and I'm working at the same time. Like I'm working. So like I'm on the West Coast. There's the difference of 3 hours for the East Coast. And I'd be out
Right.
until like 1 a.m., which is 4 a.m. I'd get back to the hotel room and I'd sleep for like 2 hours, 3 hours, whatever. And I have to wake up to log in so I could do my work day and go to meetings and stuff. Oh my God. It was
Oh
terrible.
my goodness. How do you freaking do that? I wouldn't be able to do that.
Listen, I always say, like, I'll sleep when I'm dead, and this isn't gonna last forever. These people, they're not gonna be around forever. Whether they, decide that if they're finished, they're gonna retire. We want them to, right? Like we really do. We want them to go on forever. And
Absolutely.
for these like experiences to never end, because like I get my life source from going to concerts and
I
just
understand so much.
music, just the whole thing, I mean,
Mhm.
since I've been a kid, my wardrobe has been jeans and a rock t-shirt, and
I understand.
I always go to the merch tables. I always show my support,
Mhm.
and so like if I got to do, 4 or 5 shows in a row, like, and I also like talk up all my friends and I'm like, hey, make sure, like you go check them out. I've recruited a bunch of people for Vision Video,
I mean, then again, but that'd be hard not to do when I'm running around with their band name on my arm.
Oh man, that's so
I
cool.
have so many people be like, "What's Vision Video?" And I'm like, "They're a band. They're almost like the Cure or the Smiths. Go check it out." And I'll run into them again. They'll be like, "Oh, I checked that band out," and I'm like, "Yeah, you did."
Yeah, you can't explain it. You're even more hardcore than me. Like I didn't get a tattoo, at least not yet. I got my first tattoo. I mean, can I show it? Like,
Yeah,
just real quick. So
yeah, that's
I
fine.
had bumped into Robert Smith in New
Oh
Orleans.
wow,
Yeah, so New Orleans. I mispronounced it, but I had him sign my arm, and I ran to the closest tattoo parlor
that is
to get that sealed forever. But thank you, Mr. Smith. I'm sorry, I'm crazy. It was my very first tattoo. I was totally living in the YOLO moment, but it's beautiful though. I mean,
it is.
so,
It looks solid.
it's solid. I mean, like you can't really see like the, like
Right.
I don't know if we're gonna like be able to like.
There we go.
But anyway,
Yeah, no, that looks good though.
it looks like like the Sharpie is still there. Like sometimes
Right.
people will ask me like, when are you gonna get that tattooed? And I'm like, it is like. So. Hi, Mom. Sorry. So I got my first tattoo at like 40.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. So, but anyway, like you're like we're saying, like you're more hardcore than I am.
Well, I mean,
Because,
funny story. This was supposed to be only like half as big, but I showed up to my appointment and I had the stencil huge. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Why not?
Yeah, no, I mean that's cool. I didn't see that at Dark Force Fest.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
cool as
supposed to have
hell.
a bat, like a little bat underneath it, but that hasn't happened yet.
Oh, okay.
So much to
All
do
right,
with.
cool. Yeah.
So obviously we're talking about Dark Force Fest. That's where we met.
Yep.
Crazy story how we met, but that's okay. Did you have a good time?
Man, I I know this is going to be recorded and like, permanently put on the internet forever, but that was crazy. That like that whole thing before Vision Video went on.
Yeah, it's very
There was
Dosic.
Dasich or Dasich.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I don't speak German. Please forgive me.
Me neither. I speak Rammstein lyrics, and that's about it.
I know, for real. I think everybody does, right? Like I'm fluent in Du hast, so yeah, I guess like I'll just like summarize for everybody watching. So there was a little bit of a fight that happened behind us for posture, because I guess like there was like a huge fan of the band, and she wanted to get up in the front, and like I don't know where she thought she was going, because like there was me, there was you, and there was your mom, and like between the three of us, I'm like, what is she doing? And I had my friend behind me, and she was like, these two people behind me or beside me, they're
Right.
fighting. And I was like, do you want to come up front? Like, you could be in front of me and I'll just handle it. And, she was like, no, no. But yeah, so that's how we met. And then your mom, like
Mm.
your mom was the
Oh
best.
yeah.
Like she was not having it. She was
No,
not.
especially like yeah, like one moment I'm there, I'm having a hell of a time. Next thing I know, I'm being shoved into the friggin' monitor in front of me, and I'm like,
Oh
"What?
my God, you got
Yeah,
shoved? I missed
that's
that.
yeah, that's why she freaked out so hard because I got shoved into the monitor."
Oh my God, your mom, like she was not having it. All I know was that she was
Oh, I
like
love
doing
her.
like
She's
this like
awesome.
moshing thing, and she was
Oh
like,
yeah.
get back, like and then she turned to me and she was so sweet. She apologized to me.
Oh,
And
I know.
and I was like fucking I'm sorry, excuse me. Oh, you
That's
said I
okay.
could curse. And I was like, fucking clueless as hell because I didn't know anything was happening until like I turned around and I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So yeah. But Dark Force Fest was amazing. And
Were you there just
I
for
got some great
Saturday, or were
shots.
you there all weekend?
I was there for nights the night
Okay.
before. They're my friends too. They're really cool.
Hmm.
If whoever's watching this, you haven't heard Night, like check them out too. They're
Yeah, NITE. Check them out.
NITE. Um, they're brothers, the twin brothers. And they're just awesome. Like I love hanging out with them. They're just so funny. And so I was there for Night on Friday, and then on Saturday, I was there for Vision Video,
Hmm.
and then Come Silence. So, who are on tour right now, and also another couple of bands. Please check them out.
Yeah,
They are all super super cool. And
absolutely.
yeah, I had gotten some really great shots from Dark Force Fest. And here's the thing with photography, right? Like, I
Hmm.
kind of like frame it the way I think I want to shoot it. And like,
Right.
I don't know what I have until I go home, you know?
Exactly. I'm standing there with my phone, but I literally took, I think it was 6,000 photos that weekend, and maybe
Oh,
saved like 200 of them.
yes.
Like that's how
Yes.
photography works. You take a million and you get two good ones.
Yep. When I was doing Cure Tour, I was averaging a minimum of 2,000 photos per show.
Yeah, I believe
I'd
it.
be doing like 2,000, 3,000 photos per show.
Hmm.
And, like I would have like a good return rate. I would say like I would get back like 100 great
Hmm.
photos. So I have like a ton of Cure photos in my backlog, you know.
Nice.
So, and I'm trying to go back because now I just upgraded my hardware. Like for the
Okay.
longest time, I was working on my 5-year-old laptop that was just like chugga 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 along, and it was taking me like 5 minutes to process one photo, like to do editing, and oh my god, it was so
Hmm.
frustrating. So finally, my friend said to me, like, this is what you want to do, this is something you love to do. Why make it a chore? Like, go out and get yourself the tools that you need. So,
Right.
I did. This is best investment right here. I'm talking to you on it. You know, it's the best thing. It's been a dream working with this thing. I
Oh,
could
I
go
bet.
through photos with like supersonic speed, um, and I can cull them a lot faster now. So it's great.
So what would you say is your best part of being at Dark Force?
The best part was basically like everybody that I knew was there.
Hmm.
All my friends, like people from all over the place. I got friends from Philly. I got friends from Brooklyn who showed up. I had friends from Westchester who showed up. And
Hmm.
my friend from Detroit flew in. My friends from Texas flew in, because
Yeah.
she's a huge Night fan, you know. So she flew in, and you know I made new friends, saw old friends. I mean, you're one of the new friends.
Right.
And another new friend I made was traveling from Ohio,
Oh wow.
and her car broke down on the way over to
Oh
Jersey.
no.
Yeah, and so like she was 45 minutes away from where we were waiting for her. And, so she had called AAA. She was waiting for the tow truck. She was like, oh my God, they're going to tow me and, blah, blah, blah. So I just kind of was like, hey guys, like, we're not doing anything. Well, why don't we all just jump in our cars and, and head over and pick her up? Like, why are we going to leave her out there? It was like, if it were me, I'd be scared as hell.
Yeah.
So that's what we all did. The three of us, like a caravan. We went all the way out to the border of Pennsylvania and Jersey, and we went to go grab her. And she was so appreciative. Oh my gosh, she's so sweet. She was so appreciative. She was like, "Oh my God, thank you so much for saving me."
That's great.
Yeah, and we had a wwonderful time. And, so the best part of Dark Force Fest was, aside from like the killer bands that, were playing there, it was just like, I got to see, all my friends. I got to make new friends, and I just kind of thrive. This is what I thrive on, right?
Yeah.
I really thrive on meeting new people, on, making new connections, making friends, like talking with the band members, and just, like the bands are just always like super cool and down to earth. I mean, which is why, I kind of like joke around. I call myself the mayor of post punk, because it's like, they're like, oh, BuB, I know that dude. Like he's everywhere, like, like you never know where I'm going to show up. And, I tell Dusty all the time, it's like, hey, I'm just going to like walk in and be like, oh, hey, there's BuB, There was only one place. It was at the Elysium during South by Southwest, not this past year, but the last year. So I showed up and they would not let me in. And I was like, I said, bro, I was talking to whoever was like running the security there. I said, bro, I promise you, I am like a friend. I'm not a fan. Like, I mean, I am a fan, but like, I was like, I promise you, like, please, like, let me in for a moment, So they did. They let me in, and I, just kind of shouted from, back in the way. I said, hey, I'm here. I made it. They're not gonna let me stay though, so I'm gonna leave. Whatever. Because like we all kind of tour together. We kind of move together, right? And like I choose to do it on my own, because that's just what I do. Right. But like, it's good to have like that, like check in, like, hey, I made it. Like I traveled 3 hours to be here, but I'm here, and so, yeah. So anyway, I really enjoy making new friends and making new connections. After my husband died in 2018, I spent the first year in a deep depression alone. Then, as I started to like come out of my shell, and I was like, yeah, this is gonna be my year. That was January 1st, 2020. And then yeah. And so once the world started opening up again, I was having like the like worst case of cabin fever. I was like, I just need to get out. Like I don't even care. So I was like looking to see who's playing, like who is playing. I don't care who. And I saw that Vision video. They were doing like a small set. It was like their first tour ever, or maybe not ever, but like first tour outside of Athens after Inked in Red was released, So that was September 2021. And, and I said, well, the last place that I went with my late husband was Chicago, and they were stopping through Chicago. And so I said, you know what, for closure, I'm going to go out to Chicago. And it ended up being Dusty's birthday.
Oh,
so cool. Yeah, and my mom had bought me as a present for my birthday is August 30th. So it's only a couple of weeks before. She had bought me a cameo of Goth Dad, right? So, and he was like, oh, I hear you're coming to Chicago. It's my birthday too. And so I was like, oh, hey, so like I showed up, and it was an excellent show. And I was so excited Like I
Mhm.
was so excited. I couldn't wait. Like I was trying to take a nap because I'm old. Like I'm
Right.
40. And like I need naps. And so I showed up at like 6 p.m., like probably even earlier than that. And like the taxi cab dropped me off. And as I'm rolling up, like it was windy as hell. I see Dusty and he's setting up the merch table and like everything is just kind of like
Mhm.
flittering everywhere. And I walked up and I said, "It's really you, huh?" Like my opening line, and
Yeah.
he said, "Oh, hey, like, are you BuB?" I was like, "Yep, I'm BuB." Like, and that was it. The rest is history.
Yeah.
They couldn't shake me off after that. But that was a great show in Chicago. Oh my God, it was windy, but it was nice because it was like the end of summer.
No, of course it
You
was windy.
know,
It was Chicago.
it was Chicago. Yes, yes, I know. And like at one point, like the tent, like the whole the
Mhm.
concert, the stage was outside because it was still we're still being careful. COVID is still
Right.
around. So nobody was allowed inside the bar unless you had to pay. So, you could go in, use the bathroom, come out, but
Mhm.
everybody was outside. The stage was set up outside. It was wonderful. Like everybody was like dancing. There was like this 6'6" diva priest there. You know what? I
Okay.
don't know what his name was. I don't know. He was just amazing. Like he had these nails that came out like to here, and he was just like doing this to people and like and like he was like the most memorable part of that thing, of that show. But like I made friends,
Mhm.
and like I think we were all just so happy to be socializing again. And
Right.
I made like a handful of friends that night, and they played Pictures of You, a cover of Pictures of You. And that was the very, very first time that I had ever heard a Cure song being performed live.
Okay.
And I just lost my shit. I just was screaming, crying, just short of throwing up.
I
I was
understand.
so happy. And I have video of me just embracing these strangers around me. And we are
Aw.
just screaming the lyrics of Pictures of You. And I just was I was just so moved to tears, to happiness. And like, what a moment. That show really meant a lot to me, So, this band really
I
means,
totally get what you mean.
yeah.
Alright, so now you've seen Vision Video 35 times? 36?
35 times.
35. Holy shit. That is impressive, and I'm envious of you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know if I hold the record. I think the only person who's gone to more Vision video shows is Dusty.
Well, I mean, he kind of has to go, otherwise it's not a Vision Video show.
So, but yeah, 35. And it kind of started like the first year, I think.
Mhm.
I have a whole list, but my phone is more than likely dead at this point, so I can't refer to it. But like the first year I went to go see them, I think I did like 6 or 7 shows.
Mhm.
And then I was just like, oh, I just want to like write down which shows I've been to. And then like I didn't really realize that it was going to amass into like 35
Yeah.
shows. I've seen them in the UK. I've seen them in America, in several different states, mostly in the Northeast.
Mhm.
Um, I was this close to flying out to California, but that's a sad story.
Oh, no.
I let a girl keep me from going, and
Oh,
I vowed
no.
never to do that again. I promised never to do that again.
Yeah.
But since that very first show, the happiness I felt from making new friends, being around people, socializing, and being with the music that I loved, like that
Mhm.
became like my like. I don't want to call it a drug, right? Because like a
Right.
drug, like is almost like negative connotation, but in the best way possible. Like that was just kind of like it just really kicked off the, you know, the endorphins, you know,
Mhm.
and the dopamine. And, you know, and I was just like, yes, this is what I want to do. And then somebody put a camera in my hand. Scarlett put a camera in my hand. And I
Mhm.
said, yes, this is absolutely what I want to be doing. Like, without a doubt, it was like I found my calling, you know?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know you mentioned you first found Vision Video during COVID. How'd you find him? Did you find, you know, the Goth Dad TikToks? Did you find the music? How'd you find him?
I know him pre-Goth Dad. I was there.
Really?
Yes,
No.
pre-Goth Dad. Yes.
Really?
Yes. So I might be a little honest with my story here. I don't know. I'm gonna feel out how much I want to tell you. But okay. So I was on TikTok, and I'm scrolling TikTok, and I was, you know, like I said, I did a deep dive of The Cure.
Right.
And TikTok's algorithm decided that I should see Dusty and his page, because like he wasn't doing anything like Vision Video related. He was doing something with, you know, The Cure and the music in the background, just like pictures of you, whatever,
Mhm.
or something. I don't even know. But the algorithm was like, hey, you like The Cure? Here's this guy. You might like to be friends with him, I guess, or follow him. And then, like, you know, probably like everybody, you know, your first impression is like, my God, this man is absolutely gorgeous. Like, you know, and I was like, oh, he's beautiful. I was like, let's see if he has substance, you know? So I
Right.
flipped over to his profile and I went through a few videos and I was like, educated, well-spoken, you know, he's a army, you know, captain, retired army captain. My grandfather was a general in the army.
Mhm.
So like, I, you know, definitely, you know, like was like, it struck a chord with me, you
Right.
know, and I was just like, wow, like, I was like, and like, you know, he speaks well, like he's eloquent, like, you know, like, all right, like, you know, I'll follow you. And so like within the next few weeks, like, you know, he started to promote Inked in Red. It had just been released.
Mhm.
So, you know, a video came up on my algorithm and was like, you know, he was like, hey, my new album, Inked in Red, like, come listen to it. So I was like, okay, pretty boy, let's see what your music is like, you know?
Right.
I swear to God, if I could put my money where my mouth was and like stick my foot all the way the hell in my mouth and down my throat, because from the moment that In My Side started, I
Mhm.
was like, holy shit. I said, this is phenomenal. Like, this is great. I had that record on repeat for like 2 or 3 weeks after that. Could
Mhm.
not stop playing it.
I
It was
understand.
amazing, you know? And so I was like I was hooked. I was a fan. And so from that point, from April until I saw them in September, I was a fan. And then during
Mhm.
that time, like, you know, Goth Dad had come up and, you know, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's cute. And,
Yeah.
you know, now it has, you know, evolved into this whole shtick, you know?
Yeah.
So
All right. So now I have to ask, what is your favorite Vision Video song? If you had to pick one.
oh my God. I was trying to mull this over like earlier today or
Yeah.
yesterday. I, you know, like I think like everybody, like you can't just have one.
That is fair.
I have a top three. Can I give you like a top three and then like they
Sure.
interchange?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
So we have the OG, which was Siren Song.
fine. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then a very, very close second is Inked in Red.
Mm-hmm.
And I will absolutely lose my shit to Death in a Hallway if they play it live. Like that is just
That's,
like my
yes.
favorites, you know. So
Absolutely.
I was there at Silk City April 10th, 2022, when they
Mm-hmm.
played that, you know, for the first time. I don't know if it was like really truly for the first time, but I can't really remember. But like they played it and like I remember like just completely just being like, whoa, I need to hear this. Like I need to hear the
Mm-hmm.
recording, you know? It was really great. So
For sure.
those are my top three for sure.
Good choices.
You know, Siren Song I kind of resonated with because my relationship history kind of sucks.
Mm-hmm.
um you know, like I was with like I had a couple of really bad situationships.
I understand.
Yeah, like after my husband passed,
Mm.
I was with my husband for like 14 years. But you know, there were a couple of bad situationships. And so like it just kind of struck a chord with me because when I had listened to it, like I was kind of going through it like really, really bad,
Mm.
you know, and there was a period of depression for
Right.
sure. Yeah. And you know, so I totally had like a I love you man moment with Dusty at some point.
Yeah.
And I was like, Lord, please don't give me any more alcohol in front of this guy. Like, and like the next day, you know, like we were like touring. The next day, I was like, I'm sorry, I got emotional last night. Like, and he was so cool. He was like, don't worry about it. It's fine. You know, don't
Yeah.
worry about it. You know, it's like, no problem. You know,
I feel like he probably gets that a lot.
yeah. You know, and I try not to. You know what I mean?
I
Like,
understand.
you know, the amount of like screaming women, screaming girls at him,
Mm.
like, oh my god, there was friggin' that show. Okay, so I March 15th, 2023,
Mm.
I was down in Dallas Fort Worth. So they were playing Tulips. My god, you would think that the Beatles were fucking on stage. Okay? The screaming,
Oh my god.
and then I think it was one of those Texas shows that I was down there
Mm.
because I did I don't think it was Waco. I did Dallas, Waco, and then Austin.
Mm.
There was a chick that had I think it was Dallas. I think it was a different show though. But okay, so anyway, she had a towel, a mini towel, like one of those washcloths,
Yeah.
and it said "Goth Dad Sweat" on it. And I
What?
was like, ew, stop it.
Like, we know the man sweats a lot, but like that's insane.
She gave it to him and like he obliged, wiped his face and like gave it back to her.
Ew.
She was so happy. She was like screaming. She, you know, like, oh
I
man.
don't understand people.
You know,
That's
I've seen some crazy shit at these shows, and like
yeah.
it's always fun, you know, to see, you know, the people who haven't met him before, and then like they're like really starstruck, you know,
Mm.
and you know, so like it's really it's fun to see, you know, because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I was there once, you know.
I understand.
Yeah, I was there
I
once.
can't help it, but I get a little bit starstruck every time I see him. Just like, oh hi, I know you.
Yeah,
I love you.
you know, after 35 shows, like we're bros. You know,
Yeah.
like you know, me and Emily, we're bros. You know,
Yeah.
so
I don't know if you care to hear about my favorite song or not.
yeah, no, please tell
Okay.
me.
All
I
right.
want to
I
hear it.
have to pick Haunted Hours. I've lost a lot of people, but when last year at Dark Force, he played Haunted Hours, and I'd met him earlier in the day. He played the song. I was front row, and I had, you know, the black stripe makeup across my face like I do, and it was running. I was crying, singing along. End of the song, he gets in his microphone, and he's like, "Thanks for singing along, Eric." And I'm like, "You did not just do that. Wait, what?" And I lost my shit. Like, you know,
Oh,
I love that song already, and, you know, as, you know, memories going through my head of people I've lost and stuff. I was crying and singing, and he's like, "Thanks for singing along, Eric." And I'm like, "What?" You know, it's just like one of those magical moments of things that
yeah,
doesn't ever fucking actually happen, but it happened. Like there
yeah,
was, you know, a crowd as big as when you were there.
yeah,
And, you
yeah.
know, it's just like, God damn. So I came
Oh,
home and got this tattoo.
oh, that's so nice. Yeah, I can't. I lose it every time with Haunted Hours because
Yeah.
obviously the number one reason is my husband.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so like oh my gosh. And I remember that they were touring And they were around during the anniversary. So like
Mhm.
that week is a big week
Mhm.
for me, right? Because it's the
Right.
14th and then the 17th.
Right.
And they were touring, and like I remember we were just kind of like hanging out after the show, and then I just like started crying because it was like sharing my photos with Emily,
Mhm.
and then like Jason came over and he was like,
Oh.
so concerned because he had no idea he just walked in and here I am bawling, and I said, no,
Right.
no, I know I'm crying, but like I swear to God I'm okay, like.
Right.
But yeah, like I totally feel you with the haunted hours. Like it gets me every
Yeah.
time too. Yeah.
So yeah, for that reason, that has to be my number one.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's see. What? Okay, so you said you've gone to England, so that's probably the furthest you've traveled just to see Vision Video, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's got to be the answer.
Yep.
So I went to Jesus, I was all over the place. I'm trying to remember. There was Manchester, there was Leeds, there was Newcastle, um Glasgow.
mm,
Did I Manchester? So there was four. There's one more that I'm forgetting, but like I was all over that map
mm,
of England. I was like, taking trains, Airbnb. While I was there, there was a fucking train strike because there's always a train strike. So I had to like
jeez.
last minute jump on a bus and like, by the grace of God, I have no idea how I managed it, but I was able to grab a bus ticket to the next show.
Mm-hmm.
So I forget where the hell. I know it was Leeds. Oh my god, like it's gonna bother me now. Like I should have this stuff memorized. But anyway, I was all over the place. I've put in a lot of miles.
Absolutely.
I wish like I could calculate all the miles that I've traveled to
Hmm.
go see them, and maybe one day when I'm traveling to go see them again, I will calculate all the miles.
Yeah. So would you is Vision Video still your favorite band to photograph?
Yeah, like so Vision Video always will have a special place in my heart,
Yeah.
right? Like they're my guys, my bros.
Yeah.
But like I love photographing The Cure.
I
I
have yet to see The Cure, but I need to so fucking bad.
have you not?
No.
How did you not? Oh my
I
god.
just haven't. Well, I
Man.
live in Maine on an island off the coast. That makes things difficult. It's hard to go
Yeah.
places and do things.
No, I feel you. Like that's that sucks. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
um I love to photograph The Cure.
Mhm.
There is something with their lights. I think the guy who's in charge of the lights is named Max. I could be wrong. But Reeves told me when I went to go see him at one of his shows.
Mhm.
And like he's really into the ambiance and the trippy colors and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I was like, listen, tell him for me, thank you. Look at all these gorgeous shots I was able to get. Like, because as an artist, that
Mhm.
is what I gravitate to. And a lot of like my photos are very like color centric. I love
Right.
color palettes. I love the lights, and I love flares.
Mhm.
So there were a lot of flares that I could work with the Cure show. And a lot of my photos have like these beautiful, like well timed flares in the
Mhm.
shot. And a lot of photographers will try to avoid that, but I like seek it out. And then I would see it in my phone because I was only using
Right.
my iPhone to take pictures, and so I would see it and then I'd be like, oh, okay, wait for the light to come back around again. Like, because like they
Mhm.
go into like a rhythm,
Right.
So I'm like, oh man, I hope I could get this, and sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, you know. But I love photographing The Cure. Um, Vision Video has always been fun. Like my favorite subjects are, Robert Smith, Simon, and Emily from
Mhm.
Vision Video. I really, really enjoy taking photos. Like, I just like capturing like the emotion
Yeah.
and the energy and the, you know, just the, I don't know, just I want to capture the magic that's happening
Mhm.
and the magic and the beauty that's within music, the way the artist intends it to be.
Yeah.
So, and for me, that's showing off all the colors. And recently I had some random guy in a bar in Detroit just basically say to me like, hey, don't take this the wrong way, but your photos are like really edited. And I'm like, well, the colors are already there, bro. Like, I just kind
Yeah.
of make them more dramatic. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not fabricating colors.
Wow.
So I don't know. Like, it was meant to be a compliment? Question mark. I'm not
I
sure.
don't know.
I don't know. But
That's
anyway,
weird.
so
But
I
like,
checked out his stuff. He had a
mhm.
different style. They were kind of like grungy and like
Okay, so
didn't
like totally unedited.
yeah, totally unedited, and which is cool. I mean, everybody's got a
Right.
different style. Like when I was in LA, I had the good fortune of meeting the well-renowned, world-renowned music photographer Richard Bellia. We
Mhm.
hung out for about 20 25 minutes, whatever it was, had a glass of wine, and he gave me like the best advice at the time, and made me feel really confident about what I was doing with just my iPhone. One of the very first things he said to me was, do you know what the best camera in the world is? And I said, no. He said, the one that you have in your hands, you know? And I was like, wow, that's really profound. Like, and
Yeah. I like
yeah,
that.
yeah. So it doesn't matter what you're using to capture
Mhm.
your photographs. And, Richard Bellia, he's known for still using like the old film
Mhm.
cameras. And, he specializes in black and white photography. So I don't know if you are familiar with any of his works, but he's worked with a large number of
Mhm.
huge name bands,
But no, I'm not familiar. I have to check them out.
yeah. So, he's done a lot of photos with The Cure. He's done a lot of photos with Nirvana. Like this guy has just been
Nice.
all over the place. And so, I really, I'm really inspired by his work and what he's done. And I kind
Mhm.
of like hope that I can kind of have like a fraction of that. And
Right.
you know what, even if I don't become, whatever, like I'm just doing this for me, because
Exactly.
it makes me happy. And I'm like, you know, I have become, like a known entity
Right.
amongst this scene without even like going for it. You know what I mean? And I'm
Yeah.
happy. Like I'm super happy. And I posted on my Facebook the other day, like, I am like seriously the happiest I've ever been in a very, very long time, you know, because after my husband died, like, it just
Right.
sucked. It just sucked.
Yeah.
Fuck cancer. Um,
Absolutely.
and so like for a while I just thought I would never ever ever be able to feel happiness again.
Mhm.
So like, to just for everything to happen the way it's happened in this past year, man, what a blessing. And I'm just so
Absolutely.
happy. So as long as I could keep going to shows, keep showing up, keep seeing my friends play, meet new people,
Mhm.
I'm good. But in the meantime, I take gorgeous photos and I share them with everybody. And, I guess it's just in a way, I don't ever ask them for money, like, and I wouldn't dare, you know what I mean?
No.
But
I
it's kind
understand,
of,
like I took so many photos and I'm like contacting every band I got photos of. I'm like, here's all the photos I got of you. If you like them, use them for something. You don't need to credit me, just take them. You
yeah.
know?
I do hope. I mean, that being said, I do hope somebody hires me one day, You know, like
honestly.
it would be like super cool to like just actually be paid for, for that.
Yeah,
But in the meantime, like I do everything because I love it, and I give it to them for free. They have total fair, they could do whatever they want with it, like,
right.
like you said. And it's my way of just saying thank you, like giving back to these amazing bands that have, you know, like saved my life
I
sometimes, I know
understand.
it's like corny to say that, right? Everybody says
It's
that,
true
but
though.
it is true, like the music is so powerful, and music just really resonates with my soul,
Hmm.
so it's really, I'm very grateful. So anyway, like I'm so happy that I have this talent that I can give back to the bands that have given me so much.
Absolutely. Now, what's the most difficult thing about doing concert photography?
Oh my god. Just I get super anxiety about
Okay.
trying to get to the front. So like
Hmm.
tomorrow I am going to show up ungodly early and just camp out until like the gang gets there. And like once the
Now, who are
gang
you
gets
seeing
there,
tomorrow?
Oh,
Who are you-
tomorrow is Vision Video, and then comes Silence.
Okay.
And also my friend Ken is
Hmm.
another shout out. He's in Amaranth. He's gonna be opening up for them
Oh,
too.
Ken Magerman?
Yeah, yep,
Yeah,
yeah. He's gonna be opening for them in his band
nice.
Amaranth. So he's from Kalamazoo. So
All
they're
right, you
gonna
have to
be,
give him and Dusty hugs from me.
huh?
You have to give Ken and Dusty hugs from me.
Oh, absolutely. I love Ken. I
Same. He's awesome.
I met Ken at Dusty's Halloween party back in October.
Okay.
So I had flown down there for, was that, I don't remember. Like, like, oh my god, I've been to so many shows. Anyway, it was Halloween. It was the Halloween
Hmm.
weekend show. It wasn't Southern Gothic, but it was like they were playing at the 40 Watt Club on October 28th. So I again, I'm traveling, and so I usually just like give like a heads up, and I go, hey, I'm here, like I'm making my way to the hotel room, and
Right.
Dusty's like, yo, I'm having a party, come through. So I was like, okay. So like I went, and like it was like the first time, like I had only ever like seen it through like TikTok videos, you know what I
Right.
mean? And so like I walked in, and I was like, I'm not a shy person, as you can tell.
Right.
I, I was very uncharacteristically shy. I
Hmm.
walked into that house like feeling like I was invading like some privacy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then like, he was in costume, he was wearing a mask, so I didn't recognize who he was, and like I was in a house full of strangers essentially,
Hmm.
and I didn't see Scarlett, I didn't see anybody that I knew initially in this big room, and it's not like huge, but anyway, in this room where everybody's kind of sitting and talking, and I just kind of walk in, and that was where I also met Chelsea and her boyfriend, I think,
Hmm.
Alan. They're from the Midwest, and so they were there too. So like as everybody starts to drink and it starts to mellow out a little bit,
Hmm.
oh, so I was saying Dusty had like a costume on, and like he came out from like the group of people and gave me a
Yeah.
big hug, and I was like, who is this? Like, and then I saw his pizza tattoo, and I was like, oh, it's Dusty. I'm like, okay, hey, and then I like, I started to like calm down a little bit, but Ken was there with his brother,
Hmm.
and I met his bro. And he was like super nice, and like, we all were talking. I was there with my very good friend, and she was from Michigan and he's from Michigan, so they were
Hmm.
like, oh my god, we're from Michigan. And I was like, oh my god, you're like, anyway, so that's how I knew him. And we went to the concert, we went to the show the following night, and like I saw Ken there, and we took some pictures, and like
Hmm.
that's just, he's really awesome. I love him. I love him so much.
Absolutely. While we're talking about Ken, shout out to the Sounds and Shadows group that he runs.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I didn't know that he ran that until like like I don't know. I saw something and I finally put two and two together, and I was like, oh, I should join this.
Yeah,
But yeah, that's a really great group.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Um, let's see. All right, what would you say are some tricks to getting better photos at shows,
Um.
if you got any?
Okay. So if your ISO is way too high, you're gonna have a lot of noise.
Okay.
So make sure your ISO is low. Um, like I've kind of found, like with the Sony Alpha 7 III, that's what I have. I have it on 6400. I've read on the internet you could bump it up to like 8,000.
Mhm.
I've kept it at 64 and been generally happy with what I've had. In the beginning, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So
Right.
like I was like kicking it up to like 21,000.
Yeah.
And and then I'd go back and then I'd be like, wow, these photos are great, but like they look like snowy,
Mhm.
and I had to get software to correct that. And they give like a really nice look to it that looks kind of painted, that I kind of like, but I don't
Mhm.
want that all the time.
Right.
So now I've like lowered it down to 6400. So don't be afraid to go low. You can always fix it later. It's all about trying to find like that happy little number in the lighting
Yeah.
area. But I'm still learning, so I'm not sure like any tips and tricks to taking better photos. I mean, I think that's kind of like the big one I learned was you don't have to set it to 21,000.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's all I got on that realm. But like, I'm still learning. Like, I
Yeah.
only picked up a DSLR camera last May. So,
Mhm.
you know, it's just the whole thing is insane to me of how far I've come in such little time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So you said your next show is tomorrow.
Next show is tomorrow. Yep.
Sweet. And where's that one at?
It's gonna be in Hamtramck, which is funny because like it's pronounced Hamtramck,
Okay.
but like the way it's spelt is Hamtramck. Like there's no like like but they call it Hamtramck, Michigan. So which is a little city town something
Mhm.
outside of Detroit. So it's the Detroit area. That's where Fixation was held. It seems to be like the metal bar for Detroit, you know.
Okay.
And it's nice. It's a nice venue. They have like a separate bar area,
Mhm.
and then like you go through like a little walkway where the bathrooms are, and then like there's a tiny little area for like merch, but then there's like a room for the stage, and you
Mhm.
could probably fit, I don't know, maybe 500 or so people in there. Like it's small, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like
Uh,
it though. I've been there several times at this point.
nice.
Yeah.
So where are you based out of?
That's a long story. We've already
Okay.
been talking for over an hour. But
Oh,
I'm just kidding. So, home for me is New Rochelle, New York.
okay.
Yeah, I have also been known to be seen around Philadelphia and
Mhm.
seen around Detroit a lot lately.
Okay. Um, if you were an animal, what kind would you be and why?
Okay, I've given this one a lot of thought.
Okay.
Okay, and you know what? There's only one answer for me.
All right. Well,
I I would be a panda.
okay.
Absolutely. A million percent, because pandas are cute, they're
Mhm.
cuddly, they don't care about nothing. They just want to like eat and sleep
Yep.
and roll around. I
That's a good
mean,
answer. I'm all about it.
like, okay, and besides that, pandas are my favorite animals anyway. But like, how can you not love pandas? And like, they're super smart, and like, they're non-aggressive.
Mhm.
Like, if you make a panda mad, like, you really gotta piss him off, you know.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I would definitely be a panda because I mean, hey, if the shoe fits, right?
Yeah. All right. Plug yourself. Where can people find your photos?
Oh, well, I am on every social media platform imaginable, it seems. So I'm on Facebook. Um, I don't know what the hot bar is or the shortcut because like okay, that's a long story, but anyway, so I'm on Facebook, Chris Cardi Photography. Just like put me in the search bar,
Mm-hmm.
you'll find me. I'm on Instagram. My at is at Chris Cardi Photography, and then I'm also on Twitter or X, whatever we're calling it these days, and my handle there is at Chris Cardi Pics, Pix, because photography would not fit.
Gotcha. All right, and what do you want to say to anyone who watches this?
What do I want to say to anybody?
Mm.
Take care, brush your hair, always change your underwear. I don't know.
There you have it, folks.
I used to sign off with that at my, in the city of Philadelphia, where I currently work. I was on a different team, and we would have like these like morning meetings. Oh my God, every day. And like, I would like sign off on that. And like, all the guys would be like, what? Like
That's funny.
they're like, oh God, he's at it again. No, what if I could say anything to everybody out there, like just be kind to one another. Everybody's fighting a battle that you don't know about. And if like somebody's like taking it out on you, or it's just like so like off the cuff, like take a step back and ask yourself, like, what's this really about? Take a minute, because like we're all just trying to make it out there, man. And like, we're all just trying to have fun, and we're not here for a long time, and I'm here for a good time, not a long time, right? So
Absolutely.
but that's it, just take care of yourself and take care of other people.
Absolutely. Quick shout out over in the comments to my longtime viewer Kyler. I'm gonna make that a t-shirt. Get in, bitch, we're going gothing. That needs to be a t-shirt now.
Wait, what needs to be a t-shirt? I'm sorry.
Get in, bitch, we're going gothing.
Go. I love that.
Me too. All right. After I roll the credits, you're welcome to hang out in here and hang out off the air for a little bit. But otherwise, thank you so much for joining me. This is
okay. Thank you so much for having me. This has been a real pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
You